Cool.
So,
And we're on screen, so I'm gonna drop this down. So guys, this is Chelsea Mirren. This is the class.
Hi, class. How are you guys today?
Chelsea's gonna be with us for 3 weeks now. So I'm gonna let you, Chelsea, tell them just a little bit about, sort of you, why you're here, and then we'll jump into it.
Okay, so currently I'm a freelance tech and digital assistant and shooter on the scene in Chicago, but the main reason why I'm here is not because of that, it's because of social media. So why am I knowledgeable in social media? Well, the gentleman I used to work for back in Louisville, Kentucky, named Clay Cook, is basically a social media guru. When you talk about photography and fashion photography, you would never think Louisville, Kentucky would be a place where that is actually blossoming. Well, I didn't think so either until I met Clay. Now, Clay is successful because of networking, branding, and social media. So me studying under him really taught me what I needed to do for my own social media to get to where he is if I wanted to. Right now I'm a little bit busy, so if you look at my social media, it's probably not the best example, but I know exactly what I have to do to make it the best example. And that's what matters here. Other people that I've kind of worked under or with are also different social media influencers that have taught me what I need to do to gain sponsorship, to have companies look at me. So that's why I'm here compared to just another 20-year-old that's obsessed with Instagram. So who here has Instagram business? All right, you're one step ahead of the game, maybe even 5 in my honest opinion. Who here, as their username, has their actual name in it? Good. Who here has an icon for their Instagram that goes with their branding or their logo or headshot, if that makes sense? Something that's like consistent around all platforms. So if you look on your Facebook, your Instagram, and your website, it's all the same. Perfect. So honestly, let's go through a few examples of successful Instagram so I can kind of show you what works and what doesn't. So I'll start with Clay. So this is the guy that I used to work for about a year, Clay Cook. If you go to his website, his branding is exactly the same. You go to his Facebook, exactly the same. Twitter, exactly the same. You should always think of your social media of an extension of your website. So certain images that might be too much on your website, you could put on your Instagram. It's supposed to enhance it with showing a personal twist to your work. It's supposed to show some insight of you that your website just can't. So Clay, he is an author, educator, photographer, and director. So he kind of brands himself like that. So if you go through, he doesn't have, some people do like groups of 3s. Some people do like certain branding strategies to show, they're consistent, just popping out of like compared to other people. So if you go through Clay's, you can tell like small series, small little ideas that they're from the same person, but maybe they wouldn't go together in a website. So if you go through, right now you can tell color matters, you can tell content matters, behind the scenes. These are all things you have to think about with social media. If you're just posting photos, people are only going to see your content. They don't know how you handle your equipment. So do you want to show people, hey, I'm a little bit more genuine, you can ask me questions, I'm here to educate you, or do you want to just strictly show your work? Clay's the type of person where he shows behind the scenes. He shows who he is. He shows a little bit of humor. He's a little bit more genuine. That is why he is more likely to get sponsorship than out of anyone, and he does. If you walk into his studio, he has like every pro photo item you can think of. He is a Phase 1 ambassador. He's a Canon ambassador as well, along with SmugMug, X-Rite. Anything you can think of, he's sponsored by them. So my main reason for being here today is to teach you not only that, but also just how to brand yourself better and more mature compared to most photographers out there. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, so let's go through. I'm going to show you just a few examples of what I think works best, and it'll go from someone who has, 50.7K followers to maybe only 1,000. I want you guys to feel like this is obtainable, because it is. It's very simple. So let's go through. Let me show you a good example of someone who's very consistent. She's at 8,000 followers. I know her personally. She does cosplay photography. You would never guess that that would be too big on Instagram, but it is. It's a huge scene right now. So if you go through, she's using a smart tactic of showing individual posts, but when you click on them, it's showing more sets from the set. So behind the scenes, the actual photo. She's not completely saturating you in content, because the most important part of Instagram now is quality over quantity. Before, it was quantity over quality. You could post as much as you want and you get more people to your page. But now there's so much noise of people doing that, you have to stand out. You have to be all about your branding and who you are. If you're not, you're just gonna fall back into the noise. And this is why branding, your style, everything comes into play, and especially personality. If you're looking to get, brands interested in you, clients interested in you, they want someone genuine. They don't want someone who's just posting lyrics. They don't want someone who's just like, this is a photo of Audra. They want more. They want for you to talk about your struggles, for you to talk about the happy parts of the shoot, maybe the behind the scenes of the shoot, just anything to really make yourself stand out compared to most people, because a lot of people don't want to show those sides of their photography because they feel like they'll lose secrets of their trade, which, let me tell you, everyone does it. If you're ever scared of showing behind the scenes, someone's going to do it one day. So stop being scared and show it off. Be proud. So one thing that Alexandre, does super successfully is, and this is the only time I would ever suggest doing this, is this right here. So if you're a type of person where you're using one photo in several posts to show it off, I would not suggest that. You will lose easily 50 followers instantly. And I'll explain a little bit why later, but in any instance, this is the only instance it'll ever work. If you ask me why, it's just because you're not blowing your followers up with all these blank slates. Because if I zoomed in on this and made a post, like a 6-page post, or like a 6-post post, if that makes sense, you would get this corner that would have nothing. You'd get another corner that would have nothing. And then you'd maybe get a face, an up close of the face. Cool. Well, you could have just showed the up close of the face. In theory, it's supposed to look cool far away on your screen, but in your actual feed, it just literally destroys someone's feed. And with the algorithms, Instagram's more than likely to not show people. But if you see here, she's really thinking about color. She's really, showing the behind the scenes in her secondary post. Let's see. Or even the up close, She does a successful job of, hey, if you want to see it bigger, I'm going to split it up into 2 posts in the same post, so you're not just completely bombarded by posts. All right, let's go to someone that is local that I think is super successful with their Instagram. So Tom Miguez, he only has 1,000 followers, but if you look through his page, you can tell it's all by the same photographer. It's very consistent. He doesn't do the 3s, obviously the first post is 3 reds, but if you go through, he does 4, 4. He's mainly a 4 kind of poster, but he's not pressured into doing the same format every time. He's okay with getting loose with it, with getting, his content out there. But if you go to his website, it literally looks like an extension of his website, and I think that's done very well, if it would load. So you go here, he has the 3, but he had 4 on Instagram, so he threw in an extra one that, he didn't want to put on his page. He has a lot of work that, even on his website, isn't on his Instagram. So it kind of plays back and forth. Like a client goes here and they go, oh, okay, this is great work. And then they go to your Instagram, they have to see more work than you have. They want to see more work. It's supposed to be that extension. And that's what's really important. So let's go to someone who I think is extremely well with kind of using apps to push their brand further. Because there's a lot of apps out there that you may not know about that can push you to be you and to step away from that noise of people. So first off, you see her highlights. She goes and she makes these custom, basically, titles for highlights, which if you don't know what highlights are, we can go into it. But you go through, everything's the same, everything's consistent. Behind the scenes, she does behind the scenes, she's showing her life, she's showing how genuine she is. Alicia Knight is really good at doing behind the scenes. And if you look, her images look different than the Instagram format. That's because she's going in using different apps and uploading it with different proportions, making it feel more like her website, making it feel more like her. She's obviously using color tones here to really draw your eye throughout her work. She's separating posts. You can see right here. She starts with the behind the scenes. She wants the viewer to be excited about what she's about to post. Not only that, but that day she was shooting, she had an Instagram story showing what she was doing. She has a whole entire behind the scenes video hyping up her work. So people are like, I wonder what she's shooting. I wonder what she's doing. Then the next post is what she did. Sometimes you have to hold on to content to create more content. So when you are shooting, when you are, just doing anything, maybe don't post it right away. Think about it. What is the best way to create almost like a mini campaign? Instagram should be looked at as a social campaign. Brands come out with several images, several things to show a consumer. So you should do the same. Do a behind the scenes video, do a behind the scenes post, then show it off. Show a few photos off of it, go through, show the color grade of it. Just show, people will gravitate towards you the more you show off. And you could tell her viewership's pretty good too. Let's see. Now, ignore my bad Instagrams, but it's true. So one Instagram I personally hate is Tyra Banks' Instagram, which sounds hilarious, but it kind of goes back into that theory of using one photo to show several times. Even Clay has Clay doesn't have more. I miscounted. But if you go down, this looks pretty nice, she's being real. But if you scroll all the way down to what I was viewing today, this right here, if you're doing posts that are 3, that's the downfall of it, but posts that are connecting will kind of lose the connection and look really bad. So say if someone comes to your Instagram and they don't know you, they don't know who you are, that's going to be a first impression for them, and it's going to be a lasting impression for them because they're going to be like, oh, they didn't really care. Some people don't think about it like you would. You'd be like, oh, they're missing a post for it to connect. Well, that's not the case for everyone. So if I scroll down more, so this is what I'm talking about here. That does not look good. So if you think about it in real terms, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 posts that literally clog up someone's feed. You are more than likely to lose followers because of this, because no one wants their feed clogged. Now it's Tyra Banks. Obviously people are going to follow her because she's Tyra Banks. But if you're just the typical plain Jane on the scene, where say you had an art buyer following you and then all of a sudden an art buyer has 9 frames that literally have nothing to do with the shoot or can't tell what it is, they're going to unfollow you. They don't want that. So I don't think She's very successful with how she does that, and she does it quite often. I was following her for a time, and I got so annoyed, I unfollowed her. So this one I kind of pulled because I wanted to show you post differences with followers. So one thing to keep in mind is when you first go to someone's Instagram, don't take their followers into account right away. So you can tell she has 793 followers, but she has 348 posts. She posts a lot. That's not a bad thing, but if you see more posts, it more likely means they're only getting followers like one day at a time. They're not getting a lot of engagement. And if you look here, she only has 20 likes. 21, 37, 31. It just feels random when you go through. She's not really thinking about branding like she's trying to. This is probably like some 17-year-old too that's trying to figure it out. So we're not bashing on her, but we're just using examples of just trying to think about this a little bit more than most people. So if you go back through the people that I suggested, we'll go to Bella. Bella is actually, she's a friend of mine. She is Instagram influencer, I would say. She has the official check, that's how you know. She's all about like tutorials. She's, sponsored by ProPhoto, Ellen Chrome probably, Phase 1. I think she's a Nikon ambassador, I'm not quite sure. But if you go through, you could tell her engagement's off the roof, and she has this many followers and only following this many. That plays a big part into it, because when first anyone goes to your page, they're gonna look at your followers versus following. So say if you're about equal with your following and followers, they're gonna be like, oh, they're either just following all these people and they're following them back, so maybe their content's not that great. They might take one look and be like, all right, I'm done. But keep that in mind. You should always have your following higher, your followers higher than your following. I would honestly cut your following in half if it's not. And that would mean, say, if you have like 600 followers and you're following like 500, go cut out 300 people.
I think that part is really critical. I might be able to find it, but there was a whole story about a guy. He's, again, photographer, serious influencer, whatever. He's got, there's 500,000 people following him. He follows no one, zero.
Yeah.
And they made this huge issue about how successful that whole sort of attitude was.
I actually have an example of it.
Oh, okay.
a smaller example. So Sean Hagwell, amazing director, photographer. He's only following one person, but he has 3,000 followers. And his content, his stories, I think are absolutely fantastic. They're more inspirational. So he actually posts Twitter posts saying like, basically like, don't give a fuck about what people say. Just put your art out there. Just very like inspiring things to help younger like photographers or people up and coming, not care, like go through, do it. So he kind of brands himself as that. Like he wants to be the guy that doesn't give a fuck, he does it all. But with that, he's only following one person. Now, that could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. It looks good, but actually, Instagram hates it. As long as you're actually, here, let's take a step back. So with Instagram's algorithms, which we'll get into more the next session, this is more like an introduction, but with Instagram's algorithms, if you are not giving feedback back, if you are not giving back to your Instagram community, they're not gonna show your work as much. They will, but they keep it into account that you aren't as present as most people. You are just posting. And it's like, how would Instagram know that? I don't know, they're wizards, I guess. I'm sure I actually do know. But that is one thing to consider. If you're only following one person, it could be a good or bad thing. It truly depends on if you are still interacting with your community and if you are still, present. So keep that in mind, but I would definitely cut your followers in half. Like I had to do that the other day. I'll go to my personal one, literally had to try to cut it in half. Archive your posts. That's an important one too. If your branding doesn't look consistent and you find like one tier of your Instagram is just not, doesn't look right, just archive it, get rid of it, repost it later. That's what I've done. So I'll kind of go through mine. So I'm an avid lover of the threes. So I go through and I either do 2 or 3s or some of the same vibe and color palettes. All purple, all black and white, all texture, all dark and moody. I keep it consistent. Like, even though this tier doesn't seem like it's consistent, it's the same band. So there is a theme there. So I'm always posting in themes and trying to, really play with the layouts, play with the viewer's eyes. And you can actually get apps where you can lay it out. You can figure it out. You can figure out, hey, this looks better here than there. You can literally Photoshop it. You can print out small pieces of paper and kind of play with it. Like I said, this is supposed to be an extension of you, an extension of your portfolio, but don't overwhelm people either. There's ways to post a lot without giving too much noise. So let's see. So one thing, and we'll kind of just go back to my personal thing, that's really important. So like I said before, quality over quantity. You should be posting what you think is best, not just to post for it. So, the question I would think of if I was in your seat is like, okay, well, if I'm only posting 1 to 2, 3 times a week, how am I supposed to keep getting noticed, keep interacting? Because that's the hard part, is if you're only posting a few times or only posting quality, you still have to be present. And the best way to do that is Instagram stories. And, I'll show you my Instagram story that I posted today. I made this in 5 minutes in Adobe Spark. And it looks way more professional than just posting an ad. Hey, I need a model for October 20th. Someone help me. I honestly just made this for this class. I actually don't need a model, but no one knows that. Within an hour, though, I got about 3 text messages. I got 1 repost, and I had another text message about a different shoot. So having it look like on that level is important, because people are like, oh man, look at that new photo. I haven't even posted that photo. No one knows I have that photo yet. I'm giving a hint of what's new to come, and that's what you should do too. You should hype people up. It's all about keeping people's interest without showing them the huge, the big picture or anything too huge. So we could go through a few stories, see, there's some funny stories about people posts, like, this is Josue, he's great. Posting just new, feed. Posting other people's, photos that you're in. A lot of the time when you are on set with people, tag them. Tagging is so important. If you are, oh, he's just dancing, all right. Say if you're on set, I'm on set with a bunch of great assistants. You'll see me post hey, back at it again with Josue, because we work together all the time. Then he posts it. Then someone else from his feed finds me and then goes to my page and follows me. It's all this interactive web. So the more you tag, the more you show other people, they're more likely going to give back to you. Give shout outs to your favorite inspirations. You can. You don't have to feel like this is just you. Instagram is a community, and if it sees you giving back, it's going to give you back more. Now, with that being said, you can oversaturate. So if you look up here, do you know what these clicks mean? Anyone?
So how much you post?
Yeah.
How many posts you have?
So let's go to Emily Blue. Emily Blue is great, and she's a musician, so this doesn't really apply for us, but I'll use her as an example of oversaturating through your feed. So if you go, oh, it's no longer available. So she just came out with a new album. So obviously a musician's gonna spam that. She just played a show 2 nights ago or last night. I don't remember the date, but she constantly is showing this off. Now for us, if you had that much on your story, someone's just gonna skip your story. No one cares. I'd make maybe your story half this length. I would never, oversaturate to this point, which some people do. Some people successfully do. But like I said, think about quality and not too much quantity. So she probably could have just left it at the link in the bio, shown a few hey, Emily Blue's new song is great, and then one scrollable link showing all the love. And I think that would have been 10 times more successful than, going through and showing all of this. It's just a little too much. It's a little too saturated, in my opinion. Doesn't it feel a little overwhelming? You're like, yeah, we already heard about this, Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any feelings about this? Okay.
So I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is so far everybody in here doing this already? Who in here is doing stories? Who isn't?
So what are your stories like?
Behind the scenes, I usually put my work on my feed and then about me, behind the scenes stuff on my stories, so you still get a personal touch, but it's not clogging my feed with
Perfect.
stuff about me.
Okay. And do you
And then
post?
I'll throw in an occasional post about me just so people know who I am.
Okay.
What did you say? Sorry.
I was gonna say, do you post not just stories, but posts, Instagram posts of your BTS? Okay. Are you tagging and hashtagging the brands you're working with? Okay, perfect. That's the right mindset that you guys should be in. I also I'm in a collaboration now with this kind of branding agency, but they sponsor people. They pick who Ellen Chrome sponsors, X-Rite, all these things. Their big thing is hashtagging when you're behind the scenes, showing that you're using their brands, which we'll get into more the second day. But you should really, right now, with Instagram, you should really be your brand. You should embrace who you are. And with that being said, you kind of have to figure out, who are you? Which is a heavy question, For me, I like to brand myself as this badass girl, or try to. I don't want to be the cute girl that's this is how you do this. Yeah. There's girls out there that literally play the cute role. I'm not about that. If you're about that, cool. But you should figure out, what are you? Are you the funny guy that's sarcastic, but people can tell you're just being funny? Are you the down-to-earth, genuine person? Are you the gearhead? Because trust me, gearheads are huge on social media, huge. It's not even funny. You will get so many people if you talk gear only on social media. Are you, are you guys slowly figuring that out right now, or? Yeah, maybe, perhaps. Well, for me, my brand is all red and black. I'm wearing red and black. If I could eat red and black, I would. I pull out my wallet, it's red. Business card, red and black. You go to my Instagram, it's physically blacks, reds, blues, blacks, red, blues. Just this consistent color that I throw in that you don't notice. It's either red, black, blue. You go to my website, it's literally red, black, blue. You need to be living your brand, and you need to figure out who are you and who you want to be for these people. Because if you show 6 different personalities, no one's going to stick to you. No one's going to care if one second you're this badass and the next second you're the cute person, or the next second you're the jokester. People won't care. You need to stick to one branding. With that being said, there's also this proportion that I feel not a lot of people know about in Chicago. There is 2 different realms of photography, in my opinion. There is an educational realm and a commercial realm. Commercial realm is what Chicago mainly is. Educational realm is, if you learn how to do this, you will get big just by shooting whatever you want and people wanting to know how you do it. You will be a photographer for photographers, not a photographer for ads. And I think that's a big thing that you guys need to learn. Do you want to be a photographer for photographers, or do you want to be shooting the big ads? Because that will come into play of how you do it. If you're not about being a photographer for photographers, you're only going to be mainly posting your work, not behind the scenes. If you're a photographer for photographers, you want to post as much behind the scenes as possible. You want to saturate with your knowledge. You want to show that you should be sponsored because you are genuine, you are fun, you are this person that can teach. And that is a huge part. You all need to kind of take a second and think about it at one point. I don't know, has anyone thought about that or like known about that? So in educational photography, you can literally make 80K a year easily. And people will tour you around the world and have you do speeches, pay for you to do speeches, but the downfall, they've never had like a real job most likely, like a real commercial job in their life, even though they might tell you they have. I'm here to tell you they're full of bullshit. Like honestly, like there's only a few educational photographers that I know personally that have actually had real ad jobs, had like, you know, 120K budgets, like know the production value that goes into a real shoot. These educational photographers do not. So you have to know, I'm not saying they're not a real thing, but if your dream is to shoot like a whole entire editorial for Vogue, a whole entire editorial out here, it's not gonna happen if you go into this education realm. But the education realm, in my opinion, is a little bit easier to get into if you know how you're doing things. This is also a good way, like if you want to be educational, you need to start blogging. You need to start talking about your sets. You need to diagram them out. You need to be there to explain what you did, how you did it, and when you did it. That is so important. For me, I did a shoot a while ago. It doesn't have my Instagram stories for some odd reason, but see, Marin. And I'm not trying to like show you guys like, oh my God, I did all this cool stuff. I'm just showing you like, if I barely tried back then and you actually tried now, you could probably get it way easier than I did. So, Tether Tools does a tether talk with photographers, and it's called How I Got the Shot. They want to have you blog about your experience, show your experience off of how you actually created a shot. And I want to say like 2 years ago, maybe 2018, 1 year ago, I don't know. They asked me to do it for Women's Month, which was really cool. So I decided to go ham and create the shot with no compositing. So that was an interesting factor to talk about. I literally did 2 photo sets in one, and I had to diagram about it. And if you go through, it shows the concept. There's literally a behind the scenes video of how I got the shot. That is so important if you want to do this educational realm. Think of BTS such as a video like this. You know, I'll just briefly play it, but it's supposed to like, I'm gonna mute it though, because you don't need to listen to the music. It's supposed to show how I did everything. It's supposed to show the process. It kind of makes it more real for you. You know, you would never guess like these outfits were bright green and gross, but now that's something to talk to about with your viewers. That's something to connect to. Clients see this and they're like, oh, that's great. They actually, you know, did this whole process. It gives them a better idea of everything. So, you know, you go through, it's like me interacting with the models, me showing like, I can be real, and also trying to make me look super badass, which thank you to the Hunter Zitsky for, you know, filming it. You need to get a friend to do it because you can't do it yourself. Don't try to do it yourself, trust me. But yeah, it kind of just shows what you actually did and the effort you put into it. Now, setup and lighting. This is me diagramming. This is me literally explaining everything. This is me, like, since it was tether tools, I have to explain why tethering was so important in the shoot. This is like little things you have to think about. Like, if there is a shoot where it is tether heavy, talk about it. If you want to get sponsored by Tether Tools, it's not that hard. Just explain, blog about it, challenges, like what happened, like what was hard, post-processing, like logistics and gear. Talk about your gear, list out your gear, show your gear. Show everything. You want to just, like if you're blogging about it, you want to put as much as possible because people are there to read about it. People want to know about it. You know, Have people on set helping you. Don't do this alone. You guys as a class should be asking one another, hey, can you assist me? While you're assisting, take behind the scenes. That's big now. If you're on a set with a photographer, offer to do BTS, offer to do an Instagram story. You know how excited they will be? They'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Their mind is so focused on the shoot. They're not thinking like, hey, I should probably show off that I have a shoot today. I should probably show off I'm busy today. But literally every photographer is trying to adapt to this mindset, because in a few years, it is only going to be Instagram. It is only going to be, Facebook and Pinterest. There's not going to be print. Half the ad jobs I've been on this year have all been for Instagram stories. You would not believe it, which means that it kind of sucks for us because it's lower budget now. It means, you're not going to get paid as much. Your budgets are kind of going to have to get a little lower. But maybe there's more shoots then in that possibility because of the saturation needed.
I actually know people clients
Mm-hmm.
who book full-blown print shoots essentially for print, only to shoot the behind-the-scene part of it. It's never meant for print. It's
Yep.
only meant to get material like this for Instagram.
Yes.
Which doesn't really make the shooting a sham, but essentially they're not doing it for the images that they're actually making during the shooting. They're doing it for this.
Yeah, that is something you guys should really think about, is showing yourself off in this regard. Because say if you have a client, or like even an art rep, if an art rep saw this behind the scenes video and you're like, yeah, I did this blog and it's pretty cool, they're showing, or you're showing, that you're putting thought into your production. You're putting your thought into maybe if a client wanted behind the scenes, or if a client wanted this, you're giving it to them. You're literally fully packaging yourself to be basically sold off to someone. You are a brand, and that's one of the most important things you have to remember and take away from this, is think of yourself as a whole, like every shoot should be a whole brand compilation, like a whole series. Take each shoot you do, even if it's the smallest thing possible, and just do a little bit behind the scenes, add a little bit, just figure it out, Another company that actually sponsored me was Lens Baby for a while. Not an impressive brand, sponsor you, but it's a start, and it's because I did all these really cool, long exposure, light trails, and no one hashtags Lens Baby, so I did, and as soon as I did, they noticed, and they emailed me, and they're like, here's some free shit. And I'm not even kidding you. I go to Photo Plus Expo in New York every year. I went to the Lens Baby stand, just started talking, didn't even say my name, and they're like, oh, well, what's your name? I'm like, Chelsea Marin. They're like, oh, I already know you. Their whole stand knew who I was. I'm not a celebrity, I wouldn't say my work's the greatest. That's your opinion. But the fact that I know how to hashtag, I know how to do these mini series is huge, because these companies do notice. It's kind of scary. Lately, I've been kind of holding off on trying to be branded like an educational photographer, but I actually ran into something that was really weird and interesting the other day. I was at a punk rock show, just, enjoying life, and there were photographers there, and I wasn't shooting. So I started talking to the photographers and just, talking shop. And I gave them my business card, and it was these 5 girls who were taking photos at this show. The one girl was like, hold on, you need to stay here. She grabbed 2 more girls, brought them up to me, and they were like, it's her. And I was like, it's who? Who are you talking about? They're like, you. This is you? And I was like, yeah, this is my work. They're from Madison, Wisconsin. Their college professor showed them my whole entire Instagram, my whole entire website, everything. It's not like I was hashtagging Madison, Wisconsin, It's not like I have any following in Madison, Wisconsin, as far as I know. I can actually find out, and I'll show you the next time. But it's weird. The other day, I was teching on a shoot, and I started talking to a photographer about my work, and I literally pulled up my Instagram, and he's like, that's you? And I was like, yeah, that's me. He goes, oh, I already follow you. I've been following you for about 2 years now. It's weird. think of your Instagram as almost a secondary resume to make people trust you. If they see you're working every day, they're gonna be like, oh man, Chelsea Marion's busy. Oh man, you know, I don't know any of your names, so I can't say any of your names, but you know, just think about it. Like even if you're at home retouching, show it, you know, people.
Do you lie?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you all? Oh, good. Because I was going to say, if not, we need to have a whole conversation about that, right? Well, no, I mean, we're image makers, right? By and large. Are your images all honest?
No.
Yes?
Really? I'm going to have to investigate you further now. No, I'm kidding.
No. It was a question that I put out there, and
Yeah.
you answered it, and I have a complete respect for that.
Yeah.
So if you believe that your work is completely honest, that's great.
Maybe that's how you
Mine's
should.
not. Mine is
Yeah.
a lie. From the get-go, everything about what I shoot is meant to be deception.
Maybe.
It really is. I mean, that's just the nature of fashion and beauty.
Yeah.
Is all about deception. Take the $5 gown and make it look like the $1 million gown.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just something to think about. I mean, I ask you guys when you're presenting yourself, do you inflate? Could we call that? Again, maybe lying is too strong a word. Maybe deception is a better word. But it's just curious.
Mm-hmm.
My curiosity is that does that play into your online social media?
It should.
And I would at least think that Chelsea would argue that it certainly does for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And works for them, no?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does
okay.
100%. You know, half my test shoots, I don't say they're test shoots, and no one asks. I'm like, oh, photo shoot day 1, photo shoot day 2, like, oh, shooting this amazing thing, soon to come. I don't have to tell you what it's for. I don't have to say, don't say it's a test shoot. If someone asks, you can. I never say, like, hey, like when I was starting out, most of my portfolio is test shoots. No one asks. Don't say it. If they go like, oh, like what's this for? What's this from? Be like, oh, creative collaboration. That's a great way to fluff the word test. Just little things to think about though. Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought.
All right.
No, that was a really good question. I guess I'll go into like keeping busy. I wish I could pull up my phone here. I'll kind of do like a walkthrough to show you how I lie. That's a great way to start this class. So if I go to my Instagram that I can't show off right now, and I actually pull up my business analytics, let's see, insights, see all. So if you look on my page, this is a little bit about business analytics. So it actually saves every story you post within a month, which is nice because it shows me my viewership and what people are more likely to look at. So if you go through, it literally saves everything, every single thing for a month, which is convenient. First, here, would you like to see?
Sure.
So you have like the month post and how many people are looking.
Oh, that's all right. That's amazing.
So this one I posted just photo shoot. Up close of a pro photo, didn't tag pro photo. I was doing an engagement shoot. I'm not gonna tell anyone I'm doing an engagement shoot. You know how that's gonna ruin my business? Because I'm trying to be commercial, fashion, portrait. No one's gonna wanna hire someone who's doing weddings, I'm sorry, but that's just the honest truth. If you're doing weddings, yes.
Should we've talked about this in this class before, but if we did weddings on the side, just making a whole other brand for it, just
Yes.
as a source of income?
Yes. I don't even show it. I just don't at all. If I'm doing,
Kind of word of mouth?
yes,
Okay.
yes. My whole thing is word of mouth. I probably get like, I don't try to aim for wedding
I don't
shoots.
wanna do it,
No, yeah, but it's money.
It's money.
Yeah, so I probably get one a year,
Yeah.
and I'll do one a year if it works out, but
Yeah.
you don't see me posting about it. Like, you
Yeah.
don't see me, like, at all. Like, gear pickups, like, that's just me being very, like, vague. Let's just say vague. I can't talk today. This was just for that engagement shoot. No one knows. It's the same shoot. It's literally for, a wedding. Let's see what else I have. You could be honest a little bit. Hot morning tea to start off the day. I wasn't doing anything. I'm not starting my day off. I'm staying at home, emailing clients. That's all I'm doing. But now people are like, oh, wonder what her day's like. I wonder if she's working today. Early morning sets. Just showing, hey, I'm on set. Is it mine? Is it someone else's? Who knows? Is it for like a big commercial? It's not. It is. I can tell you it was actually for like, I want to say an Aldi shoot. So that's kind of cool, but I can't post anything about it. If I save it for later, I can. But I typically don't do that because you never know with photographers. But yeah, I literally lie. Like this was from this weekend. Got to keep that hustle going, work and travel. I was going to a bachelorette party. People probably thought I was going to like a photo shoot. I was literally going to a bachelorette party. But with this post, you can see I'm invoicing. And guess what? I got called out for invoicing on Photoshop by my followers. So keep in mind, whatever you post, people will call you out on. And you know how many times that has happened to me? And you're like, oh, I didn't even see that. I had an assistant that doesn't photo assist, and they literally set up a whole C-stand wrong, didn't notice that the knuckle was on the opposite side, and guess what? I got called out by 5 people. And I don't have a huge following. So keep in mind, whatever you do post, people are looking. Like, so if you're ever on a photographer's set, one thing you need to keep in mind is having your phone out. So when I was working for Clay, if we had our phone out on the behind the scenes, there was at least 50 comments calling us out. If you got sunburnt on set, and I will show you an example that's pretty funny, people literally notice because it's not just about Clay, it's about his crew. Let's see. If there's a story and you're texting in it, trust me, you will get called out, especially if you're a gearhead photographer. When I was working for Clay, I would get called out all the time. Not saying I always had my phone out, but it was me trying to figure out Spotify, and the viewer didn't know that. They don't know much. But
I did spot your knuckle, by the way.
Yeah.
On the wrong side.
Did you?
I didn't want to call you out.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I want to try to find this one funny post from when I was interning for him. If it's still up. Oh, yeah, here. Okay. This is me a few years ago. Look at that sunburn. Literally, if I go to, oh, it won't let me see the comments. Oh, wait, no, they're here. She felt that burn that day, Just little things you would never expect, people are going to notice. Like if this was my own post, I would not post it, or I would make a joke about being a lobster. Since it was Clay's, he could be like, my poor intern. People notice these little details, and I don't even think he said anything about, maybe he did. Yeah, he didn't say anything about me being burnt. You would think no one would look for that. I mean, maybe it's just that obvious, maybe it's not. But say if I was texting on set, people would call me out on this. Just little examples. Now, I will go into a little bit about, your stories. Your stories matter. Branding matters. So how do you enhance your branding? One app that I found is Adobe Spark. And I'm pretty sure this comes with every Creative Cloud. Yeah. So if you have Creative Cloud, you have this. And it's not just for Instagram. You can do treatments, mood boards, add motion. You can do your whole website with this as well, along with other apps in Adobe. But this is actually quite impressive. Before I came here, I made probably 3 different brand mini stories that I could do. And let me pull them up and kind of.
Are you really working in Spark right now? Yes. Hands up, possibly. Okay.
I would definitely start considering it. It's really convenient. I made that model needed for today, and then I made 2 more posts. And I literally made this all in a matter of 5 minutes. So if I show new work, that looks way more professional than just putting, my photo up there. New work, small animation. I made one for a band, EP2 coming out soon. This is all my own work, but they're doing their own branding. If I did a treatment with this, if a client saw it, they would probably be more impressed. The fact that it looks like, a little bit more thought out than just putting it on there, like EP2 coming soon, swipe up. Now they're using that today. Made it within 5 minutes, sent it to them, now it's up. Just thinking about that, thinking about when to post. Apps to help you enhance these things really matter. But honestly, most of the apps you probably don't need, as long as you know how to do your own, size requirements and everything that's in Photoshop. You could do this all yourself if you wanted. I would still use Spark, don't get me wrong, but like resizing apps, I have a list of them, but honestly, you could do it yourself. You don't need to buy these apps. These apps are could be $9.99 a month. Why pay $9.99 a month when you guys have the education to literally do it yourself? These are for apps for people that don't know better, or just convenience sake, depending on how you want to do it. Now, there's different apps. I don't know if I have it on here, but I can look it up. Later.com. So, how do celebrities post, or how do social media influencers post at the same time every day, Chelsea? I just can't get up at 6 a.m. and post at the perfect time on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, things you don't really think about. Well, later, you post it later. You literally can formulate it to be whenever you want, say whatever you want. You do it on your browser, it connects to your phone, it's convenient. It actually can connect to your whole entire back end of your Instagram business through Later too. So if you don't want to look at it on your phone, you can look at it on this app. It connects to Facebook, it connects to Instagram. It's great. Use it. Use it, use it, use it. Especially, I was getting hired to do social media for other people. What would I do if I have a job and I literally can't post when I'm supposed to for this person, but I have to get paid for it? I'd use this. I would just use this, make it easy. So think about that, just other ways. You don't have to do it all in Instagram. You can, it might be cheaper, it's possible, might be more stressful. But if you do Later, it's more thought out, you have it there, you post it, it's all good to go. Now other stuff, PictoChart. This is almost like another kind of Adobe Spark-esque app where you can basically make your own designs. You can make your own little things to put on stories, other ways of laying out photos. I don't really use it, but it's on the top charts for most apps to use and best apps to use. Sprout social media for landscape. If you want to resize for landscape so your social media is not, cropping out all the stuff. Just simple things where you upload it, you download it, boom, done. You do it yourself too, though, honestly. There's an Apple product, I couldn't get to it because I have an iPhone, or not an iPhone, Android. Square sized, super easy if you don't want to cut off your whole entire Instagram post. If you want to do the cliche collage, whatever you'd like, doesn't have to be cliche, but let's see. Well, this doesn't look like it's working too much anymore. Introducing layout from Instagram. I don't know. Oh, okay, it's a Tumblr post. So, same thing, just kind of giving you more layouts, stuff you could do like this if you want to do it. I wouldn't always suggest it. You can honestly do the Instagram swipe through, and it looks way better, shows the full photo. But things to think about if you do want to do a half-half photo. And I can give Bursar all these if you guys are interested. So video editor, editing in studio. These are stuff for if you're editing video for a short story or whatever, that way you can put more thought into it, behind the scenes. Your model's doing a backflip, make it backwards, whoa, blow their minds. I don't know, whatever you'd like. These are just little ways to just put a little bit more thought and fun into your stories. I would only strictly use these for stories. I don't really use any editing apps for my own personal work, just because since we're photographers, we already photo edit it. So strictly stories, in my opinion. Hyper time lapse. I do a lot of time lapses for, you know, my Instagram. My phone just does it for me. I'm sure your iPhones do too. But if you set up your iPhone or like Android and do a hyperlapse of you setting up a whole entire photo shoot, that's way cooler than just being like, shooting today. Like other ways around and showing people without oversaturating them. I'm not going to give them like an hour video of me setting up a set and shooting it or whatever. I rather give them a hyperlapse where they see an hour within 10 seconds. There's a behind the scenes video. I know lots of people that have behind the scenes video of hyperlapses to show, hey, this is how we set up, but to not put too much thought into it because it's not a full tutorial. But yeah, your phone should do this. If not, there's a hyperlapse app. All right. Let's see. So this, you basically can crop video, because a big issue with Instagram when you're doing stories is you have to zoom in, you have to crop. That's one thing to keep in mind if you are doing like actual music videos, like little fashion shorts and stuff. If you're gonna put it on your story, and I'll give an example of this because I literally saw it today. Let's see. So this is like a video he put on, and it looks a little weird having it that small. Most ad campaigns I've been on for like Instagram stories have it zoomed in, and they think about the fact that it's gonna crop in. Let's see if she still has this up, Haley. Maybe I didn't. Oh, okay, it's weird. Work life milestones, tour. I don't know if she still has anything about her music video that came out. But she literally had a zoom in of her music video and looked 10 times better just having it zoomed in rather than pushed all the way out, because it should just be a brief preview, a taste. You want to bring them to the full video. Like, it's just personal pet peeves of mine and a lot of other influencers I know and clients think it looks better, especially if they're doing it on set. Like I was on a Maytag commercial the other day, and we had to change our set because they want to have, like, they don't want to have to like crop in, they just want the full crop right there on the screen. They don't want to have to worry about it, just right there, done and done. So keep, you know, considering stuff like that. If you are doing behind the scenes, it looks better to be cropped in like that. Or if you're doing any video, have it, you know, the normal phone way, not this way. Another sidetrack. Discover. This kind of helps you basically discover other people that are similar, like other brands that are using, you know, Instagram to kind of veer your way into knowing your viewership and knowing what other people want. I haven't used this too much. I'm going to look more into it for the next few classes in other ways. But that's something to think about. Canva. So this is another one for mainly Instagram stories, making them look a little bit better. Adds graphics, you can directly upload it, boom, 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 done. Like I said, I think the most innovative one is Spark, but if you can't afford the like premium or don't want to, there's other apps such as this. I'm like 99% positive this is free. So if you want something simple, something you don't have to think about, boom, easy. So these are just going to be other ones that basically do the same thing, but are these things you've thought about, like branding more in a, you know, professional realm of making your brand look similar to like a comp card, a leave behind, stuff like that, that you would not a lot of people would do, but you should do? Yeah.
It's interesting you would bring that up, because one of the assignments for today was for you guys to bring your first iteration of a promo piece, right? Based on your branding. That might be something, we'll see where things get with Chelsea, but some place for us to take off and actually take a look at.
Yeah, I would definitely consider, like, use your stories as an extension of a comp card. If you're not getting work, promote yourself in any way, you know? If, you know, the scariest thing is not having work, so the best thing to do while you do not have work is to make work. And I'm sure Bursar has said that a million times to you guys, but it is 100% true. A lot of the time, a lot of the people I know, all their test shoots come back to get them more work later. Like, show them off, show old work off, show anything off. You know, be personable, like show, or not show, but you could do the Instagram question now. Like, if you're just sitting around photoshopping, why don't you ask people, like, or ask me questions about Photoshop, ask me about myself, or you ask a question and people reply. It's a fun little thing that kind of gets your viewers together. And trust me, people notice when you don't post. I have been posting lately for various reasons, mainly because I've been way too busy. But one of my followers messaged me and they're like, hey, are you okay? Like, I noticed you haven't been posting any work and it's been upsetting me. So you literally affect people no matter what without wanting to or realizing. I was pretty surprised this year when more of this started happening to me, like people relating to me, people following me, people knowing me, and it was simply just through me branding myself and having it different. And it can make a difference if you try. And like I said, it wasn't until recently I started trying. I want to say a year ago, not even, I only had 600 followers and now I have 13. And I'm on a standby right now. If I kept going, I probably would be at 2,000 right now, just because I know how to do it. And I want you guys to know it's super easy. You guys can do it. You guys can get clients from it. And you guys can get sponsorship through it. And that's mainly what we'll talk about in the next session. But this was just brief insights of what to think about that not a lot of people think about. So if anyone has any questions or would like to talk, we can do whatever you guys would like. I don't know if this was informative or not, but yeah.
Anyone?
Do you have an example? You were talking about educational photo accounts versus just.
Yeah.
Can you share just a couple of?
Yes. So Pratik. So this is a retoucher who is sponsored by F-Stoppers or RGG, but now it's called Pro Education, and he actually gets paid to do tutorials, to show you tutorials of how he does things. So he has two different accounts. He has his retouching one, and he just recently started shooting. So here's some new photography work. This is on his other account. Let's see if he doesn't really have any tutorials up today. He did a question time. Is it better to have no business card than a horrible one? Everyone said, don't have a business card if it's horrible. Just little things you never think about. But, it kind of shows hey, we're in search of this for our next tutorial. 2-day creative experience, showing more of his classes. He doesn't really show too much behind the scenes. I could also go to Lindsay Adler. I'm sure all of you know Lindsay Adler. And let me tell you, if you ever intern for Lindsay Adler, she's gonna make you wear an intern shirt. It's great. She doesn't show that off in her Instagram, but it's kind of funny. So free retouching, talking about, hey, would anyone like free retouching? Please read all of this before commenting. And then he kind of goes into, he's being genuine. He's talking about his work. He's talking about what he's about to do with you. He's explaining why it's going to be free because he wants to help you. However, retouching is still a beautiful, obsessive passion, and I still love doing it. He wants to give back, and because of that, everyone loves Pratik because he's real. You meet him in real life, he's shy. He's very humble. He is literally his brand. His brand is humble. He's this humble guy. Him and his girlfriend are both absolutely just humbling. I don't know what else to say like as a good adjective, but that is a good one. Instagram takeovers. Actually, now that we're here, let's go to Emily Teague. Emily Teague right now, in my opinion, is about to blow up. So she was this photographer I met originally in my internship that almost was an intern with Clay and me and decided not to. She just moved to New York, so she's been posting a lot of like behind the scenes, and she's trying to be more of that educational coach right now. So if you saw her post from a month ago, which you can't right now because I don't have anything archived on her, I don't think I can physically archive her stories, but this series right here, BTS every day. She had BTS like, hey, we're gonna show you how we got the shot. She talks about the shot. She blogs about the shot. But because of this, let's go to Capture One's page. I don't think her takeover officially ended, but.
Hi guys, I'm Emily Teague here again. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a portrait and fashion photographer based in Brooklyn, New York, and throughout this past week,
She got to be, like, just take over all of Capture One for a whole week. You know how big that is for brands? Capture One's huge. She gets Capture One for free, I guarantee it, or at least a huge proportion off. She's talking, she's showing that brand behind her. You think that's not known that Ellen Chrome is sitting right behind her? It is 100% known, let me tell you. She's nice. Her branding, in my opinion, is genuine, nice. She wants to be real with you. She wants to be with you. And if you look, so this is this is actually her roommate, the new person who's taking over. Hilarious how that works. They purposely do that. You're a sponsor, you're a member, the next person you suggest is most likely the next sponsor. This is why you should communicate with these people. You should get to know these people, pick their brains, go to like standout photo forum. I literally got most of my opportunity because Verser was like, hey, can you work this event called Standout Photo Forum? I met Clay there. I met Bella and Pratik there. I met all these people and I got to pick their brains, and I've basically gotten to know them for like years now. We're not best friends, but they know who I am. And if I ask for help, they'll literally help me probably more than some random stranger. It's stuff like this, like networking. This is networking through social media, and no one really realizes it. There's all these interwebs of these people that are bigger, that have these interconnections you would never guess. And it works out well. But let's go through Emily for a second. So, Capture One takeover. It's all about her. Like, who is she? What's she obsessed with? Yada, yada, yada. Talking in third person, because it's Capture One. Now it's Emily talking. She's like, Emily here, starting my Capture Takeover Instagram account in honor of Capture One Portrait Month. This week I'll be sharing blah, 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 portrait work, going to color. She brands herself a lot proud of color. She's going to talk about color more than lighting. That kind of shows also what do you gravitate more towards? Are you an edgy lighting photographer? Are you really proud of your color? What is you? That's a part of your branding. What are you known for? Like, if I saw your guys' body of work right now, can I tell it's you? That's one big thing to think about, because my senior year of college, I remember there would be a workup and people would be like, I know that's you. I'd be like, why? Like, I can't tell. But if people can tell, you're doing something right. And that's like a big, big compliment someone can give you when there's consistency and a sense of style there. Anyways, so more just like her talking about it, like everyone brought so much talent to the shoot, even though the image is a few years old. It's remained one of my favorites because of the expression of the model, her hair, her makeup, her gorgeous headdress. Giving shout outs to the people that work for you, being genuine, bring them in. I could show some genuine posts too. Like, I know Clay has a lot of great posts. Okay, this is my headshot that I took. So before the shot, I took this like a few weeks ago. I did not take a headshot in like 5 years, and my last headshot was in Verser's class as a test shoot, and he doesn't know that, and now he knows that. It's actually quite hilarious. It was like a shoot where it doesn't show any of my face because we're capturing motion on like a medium format camera, and all of my hair was just in my face, and that was my branding. Horrible branding, guys. That shows that I'm not confident. So I talked about making a promise at the beginning of the year, taking my headshot, because I hate being in front of the camera, which is hilarious as a photographer. You'd think that's opposite. No, it's not. A lot of people feel that way. So, you know, I kind of just briefly touch on having confident issues, but say you wanted this to be the next level, I would have made a whole blog post about what I went through, how uncomfortable I was. How did I take my own shot? Because, you know, there had to be someone else there. Just little stuff like that you don't think about. You can really connect to your viewers. There's also, I had a blog on my page. I took it down. I talked about suicide and how I got into photography was therapeutic photography through one of my friends that committed suicide, and I blogged all about it and put it on a fashion post, and it got so many likes. I don't remember what post it is, but the fact that I could connect with someone really made people not even care about the photo. They cared about the words. So even though social media is there with photos, the photos stop them, but the content hooks them. And you should think about this. Your words really mean something. It means getting hired, getting booked, getting followed, being like inspiring someone, breaking someone down, or building them up. It is so important to just start thinking about that and adding your personality in. One of my bigger posts that was me trying to be more, real was this post, and it was all about the abortion laws that came into play and my feelings on it. Even though I live in Chicago, I'm still mad. Not to get political, but you know, it's more of an emotional post for people, and people really connected with it. People started sharing this post, and I tried to promote it on Instagram. Instagram denied me for it being a political factor, not a gore factor. So, things to think about. If you have something strong to say, half the time it's not allowed. But yeah, just things to think about. Really try to connect with your audience. Go with your gut. If your gut says, I want to post this, should I post this? You probably should. It'll make a difference. You have something to say it. It would make a huge difference because people want genuine. You have to be genuine. Does anyone else have any questions?
Just to expand on that just for a little bit, Jen, are you guys aware of Lindsay Adler? Anybody in this room know who this is? Because she is probably, I think, you would possibly agree, when you talk about people who do education,
Yep.
Photography stuff, whatever, she, in my opinion, is probably better known for that aspect
Yes.
of her career than she is as a shooter itself.
Yes.
And she is relentless.
Mm-hmm.
Relentless. I mean, she is doing, it's just nonstop. I have no idea how she cranks out as much of this stuff as she does. If you don't know who she is, I'm not necessarily advocating that you should be
This is her.
wanting to emulate her, or that this is the kind of work that you want to do, or any of that kind of stuff. But I think if there is something at all that
Yeah.
is of any interest to you at all, she has gotten the format for how to do this in an absolutely remarkable way. Because she'll do it on every scale. So she'll do you guys know about Creative Live?
Yep.
You guys deal with Creative Live? Do we know? Are we here? Are we awake? Creative Live, probably the largest, I would guess, the largest collective of art-specific education that there is. It's a group out of Seattle, and they sponsor everybody. It's staggering the content that they've got. It's like hundreds of thousands of videos or just not just videos, but online course structure of stuff, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And it's not just about creative arts; it's not everything. She's a huge player in that space. But then she'll turn right around and she'll do. Right now, she's doing a whole series of videos on shooting with gels. and it was she just did, it was like a 3-part series, and they're all incredibly quick, short videos
Can't spell.
that she deals with, but she is constantly there,
Yeah.
constantly out doing this.
She has a whole entire YouTube channel of everything that a lot of people
yeah,
watch.
Exactly, that's right. She's this is relatively new for her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is her gel series thing.
Yep.
Right there on the bottom part. So at any rate, does that sort of begin to give you some idea about that space? Yeah.
There's also Jake Hicks. He's one of my favorites. He does a lot of, like, BTS. He travels from the UK to here to, like, show people, you know, what he does. And his is all tutorials. He's sponsored by Lens Baby in a successful way. Trust me on that one. You never guess, like, Lens Baby could give you the effects that he gets, but he kind of shows you. He prides himself, you know, like this. BTS of just, like, one of his classes. Him showing people, stuff like that. Like, I want to say the instructors are more saturated in their posts because they have the freedom to be posting all the time. That's how they make their money, is they have to be posting all the time. Tests, behind the scenes, everything. Lindsay Adler probably shoots 3 to 5 times a week, or she's making it look like that. You never really know. It's all a lie. That they could be doing one thing and really it's totally different. See, even like Models Wanted. Never feel bad about that. Technique Tuesday. Like, Technique Tuesday. A lot of instructors do that. People who try to be instructors, they do videos, they do blog posts. I'm pretty sure, you know, he has his workshop on here. And Jake is a really nice guy. He actually reached out to me and we got to talk. He was super cool. But, like, you could book now, and he has tutorials on his website linked there, you know. Archives, stores, contacts. There's a whole different kind of realm, but the nice part about being in the educational realm of photography is you have these tutorials, and the more people buy it, the more percentage you get. So it's almost a long-term investment if you think about it, because you get a little bit of money here and there for these tutorials. It might blow up, you know, one day and you get a bunch of money, and then 2 years later, someone puts up another ad for it and it blows up for 2 seconds and you get more money. Just something to think about, that it's a way to farm in more money. Not saying that they're money crazy or bad people, but I feel like I made it sound negative, but it's not. Any questions? Cool. I think that's it that I have for today.
So, Chelsea, I asked everybody to sign up for their Instagram business account.
Mm-hmm.
Going into next week, dealing with the things that you are going to deal with next week,
Mm-hmm.
are there things that these guys need to be doing, considering, thinking about? I know in one of your first meetings with me, we were talking about literally losing half of their followers. Is that something you want to deal with today, or something that we will get into the nitty-gritty next week?
I'll get into the nitty-gritty of that next week, because that has to do, so there's 2 different realms. I'll briefly touch on it. There's 2 different realms of followers. There's organic and there's bot. If you guys have you guys heard of organic followings? Yes, no? Yes? No? Okay. Basically that means you're not buying your likes. You are going with the algorithms, you're doing them properly, you are going by the rules, and people are just gravitating towards you through, like, Instagram. Whereas, you know, Instagram business allows you to buy if you want. You don't have to, but it helps you keep track of organic versus bot. I've done like a few bot campaigns. So say if like you have this amazing fashion editorial out, you should buy a spot for advertisement. It's gonna bring more people in. You just should. But if you're constantly buying and then you stop buying, it's gonna show a huge drop in your following, and it's gonna show major impacts. If you're losing people organically, you're just doing something wrong, probably on a moral scale, honestly. So we'll get into that, because that's a whole entire topic. We're going to talk about hashtags. We're going to talk about the algorithm of hashtags, because there is an algorithm to hashtags and how to do it properly that you would never guess. It can make Instagram basically shadow you out from people if you do it improperly. So we'll go into that, and basically how to make sure that you're not going to be pushed to the side with Instagram. So, cool. All right.
Great, then, guys, well, why don't we go ahead and take a break now, because it's just a good time to reset. So it looks like it's 20 till, if you could be back at 5 till, that would be terrific. I want to take a look at your self-promo pieces that stuff was due today. Did everybody get a chance to read about the I redid the assignments so that you can actually drop your resume and drop your business card and all that kind of, you can put those on Canvas now. If you've got them here, I would also like to take a look at them. I want to try to connect what it is you guys are doing back to your branding, Emily.
Do you want us to do both if we have them?
If you have them with, I want to take a look at them, so we'll put them up, because essentially I want to critique them. I want to have that same conversation we've been having about your work. So yes, I want to see it up on the wall.
Do you also want it on
The self-promotion pieces, I'm not asking you to put those on Canvas. It's everything else. It's your business card, it's the resume, it is your letterhead, and something else. The biography, thank you. I'm asking you to put those up on Canvas. But since I only got to that today and did it today, you've got until the end of the day. I'm not going to look at it before then, so you guys have time to do that. Are there questions about this? Also, I'm asking you to, it's for next week, or the due date for it is next week, is to actually have your website, not necessarily up and running, but at least you're there, you're registered, the site exists, you've picked a template. Is there anybody in this room who still does not have any website presence at all? Are you all good on that part? So then the assignment for that is to simply submit a link. Again, you'll see it's all designed to happen in Canvas, just to submit a link so that we can actually start taking a look at that stuff, because we need to start building these broader connections of all of this content that you're talking about generating with your brand. Are there questions about any of this? Great.
Cool.
Do me a favor then. Did you?
Get my binder?
Yeah. So you're good?
Yeah. I was.
Oh, no, there's nothing worse to hear than that. Can you just start me a sign in on that? Thanks.
How do you want me to stop this?
Oh, no, but actually, you and I, we can stop this part. I can unclip you. So anyway, yeah, we'll do a quick break now, guys. So I just talked for 5 minutes. So if you'll be back at about 3 o'clock, that would be great.
Cool.
And then Chelsea, if you want to hang out just a second, let's see
Yeah,
if we
of course.
can get this damn thing. This is pissing me off.
It's okay.
Good job.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if it